This set is filled with shiny Pokemon, like these ones.
You really much love, homie. Oh, yeah! Yes, dude!
I'm going to open this box, and every time I pull a shiny Pokemon, I'm gonna hunt for a matching shiny in the game. Our first pack didn't have anything in it, but on the second pack, we got a shiny Zaytu. I'm not gonna lie, I was kinda hoping for something a little cooler than Zaytu. Sorry, Zaytu lovers. But I was excited to do the hunt anyway. Now, I had assumed that everything in the Paldean Fates set would be accessible in Paldea, or at least in the DLC. But apparently, Natu and Zaytu were not included in this game at all, which means I'm gonna have to actually try. So let's take it back a few generations, to Sun and Moon. The best way to catch shinies in this game is by SOS chaining them. If you hit a wild Pokemon to under half of its health, it'll call in for backup. If you knock out its backup, it'll call in for more backup. Basically, you just do this over and over until one of its friends is shiny. Your odds go up the further you get into this process, so it shouldn't take too long. But be careful, because if the initial encounter runs out of PP, it'll use Struggle and it'll knock itself out, ending the battle. So after about every 30 or so encounters, you want to knock out the original one and let one of his buddies call for help instead. Just make sure to do your research on the Pokemon you're hunting in case it can learn self-destruct or teleport or something. It would be a real shame if you spent over an hour getting to max odds, then you knock out the original one and the second one just happens to no teleport. Damn it. I didn't know he could do that. So yeah, my first attempt was a failure. But I taught two of my Pokemon Block, an attack that prevents a wild Pokemon from escaping. I can use Block and then wait to see Natu use 4 different attacks that aren't Teleport. Once I find a Natu that doesn't know Teleport, I can use that one to call for help. I couldn't afford to run out of PP on my 2 Pokemon that know Block, so once the Natu confirmed doesn't know Teleport, I would switch out into something else. The plan was foolproof, I thought, but I made a miscalculation again. You see, I have a shiny Zoroark in this game, and I love him very much, so of course I would choose to use him whenever I could during this challenge. The issue is, I haven't played this game in a few years now, so I forgot that Zoroark was holding the Choice Specs, an item that increases your special attack, but it only lets you use 1 attack during a battle. So I was spamming Thief because it has the most PP out of all of his attacks, and once Thief ran out of PP, I clicked Fight to select a different attack, but because of the Choice Specs, it didn't let me select another attack, and instead Zoroark just used Struggle, selecting a random target and knocking out the Natu that didn't know Teleport. And... Dude, are you f***ing kidding me? Dude, come on. So another hour and a half in the trash. The odds of Zoroark hitting the wrong Natu and the Natu using Teleport are crazy low. But we made a mistake, we got super unlucky, and we got punished for it. 3rd time's the charm, right? So I found another Natu, found one without Teleport, found a second one without Teleport. I got the chain going, and the method was working. I wasn't gonna let anything stop me this time. Something interesting did happen though. The further into a chain you get, the higher the chance that a Pokemon will have hidden abilities. And Natu's hidden ability is called Magic Bounce. Basically, it reflects the effects of attacks back at the user of the attack, meaning that I couldn't affect this Natu with Block. He ended up not having Teleport anyway, so I was safe in that regard, but because I got hit by my own Block, I couldn't switch out my Registeel. Registeel only had 25 PP total between all 4 of his attacks, so it was only a matter of time before he was using Struggle and knocking out the wrong Natu again. I somehow have hit another roadblock. My solution to this was to let Registeel get confused and hope to the gods that he knocked himself out before he ran out of PP. Stressful. Moving on. This shiny hunt had way more obstacles than I thought it would have. Admittedly, some of them were my fault, but at some point, it had to come to an end. Oh, yes! We got him! Man, that was way harder than it had any right being. Jeez. Now I'll just switch into a guy with blocks so he can't teleport away. And... now we just gotta evolve him. The fact that Natu knows teleport and magic bounce made this a really difficult and interesting shiny hunt. It feels really rewarding to complete, and it was actually really fun to figure out all of these puzzles along the way. There you have it. It's not that cool of a shiny, honestly. Or that cool of a Pokemon. I'm a Zaytu hater. That's freaking cool, though. Matching shiny Zaytus. So there was like packs in this video or something. I don't know. It's been a while. I don't remember. But it looks like our second shiny is going to be Toedscroll. Awesome. One that's in Scarlet and Violet, so it should be easier to hunt this time. What's kind of funny is that I already have one of these, but it wouldn't be good content if I didn't hunt it again anyway. Stay. I'm sure most of you know this already because this is the newest Pokemon game, but you can make sandwiches that give you superpowers. One of those superpowers lets only a certain type of Pokemon spawn, so if we make a ground type sandwich, since Toedscroll is the only ground type in this area, he's the only Pokemon that will spawn. Another superpower we get is called Sparkling Power, which just raises your shiny odds to a ridiculous amount. So this hunt shouldn't take very long using this method. Is that him? Yep. Sure is. Nice. How long was that? Like 15 minutes? Oh, I love this game. There he is. With Toedscroll in the bag, I still had about 16 minutes left on my shiny sandwich, so I decided to hunt for another ground type while I was at it. I picked Larvitar and I went to check his spawns and make sure that he was the only ground type that spawned there, but it didn't go exactly how I had planned. I was seeing a lot of other Pokemon, Gibble and Dugtrio. Gibble would be a cool shiny to find, but I didn't really want to hunt for a Dugtrio. Sorry, Dugtrio lovers. But I stepped outside of the cave and I realized that Phanpy and Donphan also spawn here. So I decided to pivot to hunting one of them since they were spawning a lot more. And within about 30 seconds of making this decision, I found one. Yo! It's such a bad shiny! Bro, I found that in like 30 seconds. This was probably the fastest shiny I've ever found in my life. I mean, 30 seconds after making the decision to hunt it, I found one. This game's crazy. So I caught Phanpy. I still had 10 minutes left on my sandwich. Headed back into the cave. Maybe we can still find Larvitar, or maybe even a Gibble. So I'm running around, and that Gibble looks kind of blue. Oh my god. 3 shinies, 1 sandwich. The one I was chasing, but I am happy to see him. I'm sorry if catching a shiny in a quick ball makes you mad, but hear me out. Just look at him. He's bright blue and he's bright yellow. I had to do it. With 3 shinies in the bag, I had 3.5 minutes left on my shiny sandwich, so I had to speed run this Larvitar. Was it greedy? Yeah, but I wasn't gonna waste it. So I stepped outside to refresh the spawns, and out of the corner of my eye, they're just giving them away. Yo, So 3 shinies in 15 minutes. That's how you do it, folks. Anyway, I guess we'll get back to the original task now. They're matching. Even though this video is starting to get a bit long, it was time to see if we had any hunts left or if the video was over. And it's looking like we've got a shiny Tandemaus. Tandemaus has to be one of the worst shinies I've ever seen. And not only that, but he's very difficult to spot in the wild, which means even though we can use the same sandwich method as before, we can't run around and notice if it's shiny or not just based on the sprite. But this game has a feature called Auto Battle where you can beat up wild Pokemon without entering an actual battle. And your Pokemon will refuse to knock out a shiny Pokemon while you're doing this, so I'm just going to run around and auto battle Tandemaus for a while. I did this for a pretty long time, the entire sandwich actually, and I didn't find one, so safe to say that we were not as lucky as our last sandwich, but I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the game without saving so I don't waste my Urbas, load back the game, make another sandwich, and try again. By Scarlet and Violet standards, this one did take a while, but I finally managed to find a Tandemaus that my Kingambit didn't want to fight. Oh? He doesn't want to fight him? Oh, yes! Let's go. What a bad shiny. They're twins. So that was a pretty short segment, mostly just because nothing interesting really happened. But we're back to the packs, and we've pulled a full art Nemona. I mean, she's a lovely lady and all.
You want to have a Pokemon battle with me, don't ya?
But she's not a shiny Pokemon, so we're going to be moving on. And with no shinies in these last two packs, that's going to mark the end of the video. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. You may or may not have realized this, but this is actually the first video I've uploaded to YouTube. I know it's a bit rough around the edges, but I really do love making content like this, and I'm looking forward to honing my editing skills and making more and better content. No spoilers, but I actually have a massive project in the works that involves a shiny hunt spanning across multiple games, so if that interests you, consider subscribing. Peace!